I assume it's on. Call to order the regular Tilton Budget Committee meeting for October 25th, 2017. And the first order of business are our meeting minutes. But before we start the minute meetings, I believe at last week's meeting Wayne made a motion and we approved the motion to not fund Child and Family Services. That was an error. It should have been not Wayne's error, it was my error. I think no one caught it except Johanna finally. It should have been New Beginnings. They were the ones who were scheduled to be here who didn't show up. So, Wayne, would you like to amend that motion?
I would like to amend the motion to read that we fund the Red Cross and New Beginnings in the amount of 0.
Is there a second to that?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain.
Okay. All right.
Good job.
Now, what you need to do is to... Okay?
Oh, okay, yeah.
So next are our minutes, so...
Changing the name to protect the These glasses are terrible.
No beginning. Yay.
Hi, John.
Good evening, sir.
Everybody had a chance to finish reading them? I'd like to make a motion to amend the second page, paragraph 2. Motion by Mr. Brock to fund Red Cross and Child and Family Services in the amount of 0. I'd like to remove Child and Family Services.
Okay.
We changed it to,
And put New Beginnings?
yeah. No, I just want to remove that. We already made a motion for the New Beginnings. The motion is to remove Child and Family Services from this.
Okay.
Seconded.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Abstain?
All right, is there a motion to accept the minutes?
Make a motion to accept the minutes as amended.
Second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain.
One abstention. Okay. All right. And first on our agenda is the Island Concert Series, and we have Mr. Meinholz here today.
This is the traditional hot seat.
Yeah, it is.
Oh,
If
yeah,
you,
did you sign
Chris, if you
in?
would just sign in.
Yes,
on
I
that,
did.
please. Okay. Oh, you're ahead of us.
I am.
All right.
Tim will be happy using his microphones.
I think the only person who's new this year is Steve. And if you would just explain a little bit about the concert series, because I don't think Steve is really familiar with it, are you, and how it's funded?
Have you been to a concert?
No.
You should. This is we completed the 25th year of providing concert entertainment to the folks from both communities, both towns, as well as many other towns, people that show up from Laconia, Andover, Plymouth.
Even the
It's quite
seacoast.
surprising. Yeah, it's quite surprising, but it's a lot of fun. You know, people dancing on the grass and stuff like that. It is just a good time, a really, really good time. And there are some folks that come every single Sunday evening. Some in not the greatest health in the world, and they come though. They come with their walkers, and they come with their, you know, and so forth, and they make a point of being there. They wouldn't miss a Sunday evening at
Very
the
far from
concert.
Cumberland Farms.
Yeah.
Yeah,
On the island.
yeah. It's just a good time. We like I said, this year was the 25th year that we've been doing this, and so it's you know, this year we had, and we do keep track of anybody that comes across the bridge. Yes, we count them, and without my glasses, I'm seeing 20. I think you've got the same email. 2,600, 26 hours, 2,800, 2,800 and something.
2697.
2697 was the total. Was the turnout for the year, for the season.
It averages about 300 people a
Right,
concert.
average about 300.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's a worthwhile thing that the Hartwell family they contribute considerably to keeping this going. And when I started with it, I started there with Alan. And if any of you, I don't know if any of you knew Alan, this was his dream. He and his wife lived in Northfield. And they had a small little cottage, you know, and so forth. And they lived in New York also. And in the summers they'd come up here. And she was in very poor health, but he would wheel her over there, and they'd go out on the island, and they'd just talk about what could this be, you know, what can we do out here that would be great for the community and so forth. So anyway, eventually Savina, who was part of the, you know, her name is up there in memorial, passed away, and Alan made it his mission to, because they were both musically inclined. She was a singer in New York, and did quite a bit in what they would refer to as possibly as a torch singer. She was in a lot of the big clubs and so forth, and that's actually where she and Alan met. You know, but anyway, and of course he produced a lot of musical pieces and so forth. So anyhow, the upshot was that he said, this is what we want to do, and that's how, when I got involved in it, he was in New York and so forth, and he needed somebody to set the thing, get this thing going. So that's how I got involved with it. So he supplied everything that we needed, including the bandstand and all that. You know, that was all. Oh yeah, that was all his. He bought all that and the original benches and the lampposts and the whole works, and had them shipped up from Texas and wherever he decided to get them. And I received them, and I got some of the guys from the fire department, and I was in the fire department at the time here in Tilton, and I got a few of the guys to come over and help dig ditches. And we put underground wiring all where the lampposts are, and string wire and pour cement and all that sort of stuff. So anyway, it was that in itself was a project, but it's been fun, and it's well worth it. I think that the folks in the community appreciate the fact that that happens every Sunday night, and with the exception of maybe a rain. This year we didn't have
Didn't
rain
have a
out.
single rain, no.
No, it was good. So
And our very own John Scanlon did some repair work on the gazebo this past year.
Yeah, the year
Yeah,
before.
year
this
before.
year before, yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
Branches and the trees.
Yes.
So you could see it from the road.
yeah.
They Clean the lights.
That means a
right
lot.
for you.
But if you haven't been, it's well worth going some Sunday evening. Really is well worth going.
Yeah.
It's fun, and you'll end up tapping your feet whether you want to or not. Maybe even getting up and dancing with one of the little kids.
Oh, it's just something. A lot of folks, or some folks, not a lot, but you'll see if you parted the bushes there on the backside on the south side of the island, you'd see cars parked over there in the parking lot across the river, and folks sit there and they listen to the concert. So it's kind of a good thing. Anyway, so we ask that both towns, Tilton and Northfield, might help to support the concert series, and that has happened over the last several years, and we would just hope that we can continue that relationship. And it's in the same amount for both towns, and it works out very well.
Does anyone have any questions for Grace?
No, I mean, I'd like to see all the walls be, so it doesn't
What?
disappear. The
That has
island
nothing, that's
walls.
the town though, the two
I know.
towns.
Yeah,
We talked about that the last year.
yeah.
And something that was neat this year is the local PD came down and helped out to make sure everybody was safe.
Oh, yeah,
Everything was, but it was nice to see them in a role.
yes.
That's the service role.
Right.
That they were there, nothing more than to make sure they get across and back.
That's right. And then he come, he comes out on the island and commiserates with people and so forth.
Yeah.
And which is nice. It
was really nice to see.
gives that
There's always birthday cake
community
every
flavor.
August.
That and to include law enforcement, which is good. So.
Has Northfield been?
Oh, they'll have an identical. They have an identical
Over the last
request
couple of
on-
years? They've been
Oh, yeah.
keeping up good.
Yeah. They were gonna. There was some discussion about not doing it a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
That didn't go
Okay.
over very well.
I didn't think it would.
So,
Okay, well, thank you very much, Chris.
well, you're very welcome.
Thanks for
Thank you.
all you're doing here.
No, it's a lot. It's just.
Well, it's very good
you know,
for the community, I think. It
Yeah,
really is good.
it is, and I've volunteered at a lot of things over the years, and
Yeah, so
this is really the fun thing.
Okay.
So, well, all right. Well,
Thank
I've
you,
taken
thank
up
you.
enough of your
Thanks, sir.
time. I can see there's many here waiting.
They're not doodle 7:30, so.
Oh. Well,
Okay.
all righty.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome, and have a wonderful evening. And you too.
She's got sewer.
or on,
Did everybody have an opportunity to go over all the information that Genesis presented last week and have any conversation or comments?
On what?
Genesis.
Oh. I wasn't here last week, but, I mean,
John?
doesn't seem to be
Yeah,
any
I-
personal service.
I've gone over it and it's,
Arthur? You had a chance to go over there?
I have a,
How does everybody feel about it?
I haven't been on as long as everybody else, but it seems like they're a complaint every year that they're not doing,
Well, I
Service?
think up until the last 2 years, there were a lot of complaints, and we had heard less complaints. That's why we gave them some money last year. I have not heard any major complaints this past year. I don't know about anybody else. Have you, John?
no, it seems though it all roots from their constant turnover where, you know, people get new people and it's
Yeah.
more of a community as opposed to a private practice type thing where you have longevity and that. A lot of people get on board with Genesis. They do pay for their schooling and stuff like that. Once they become educated and established, a lot of them will
Yep.
move on to greener pastures. So they've been constantly dealing with that.
I agree, but it seems to be a consistent problem they've had for years that really has not been taken care of. Therefore, I make a motion that we fund Genesis Behavioral Health at $1,000.
and what did they ask for? What did-
3,000.
What was last year's?
I was
3,000.
going to ask what they got last year.
3,000?
Have you got the copy of the budget from last year? We got a town report. I didn't bring mine. I didn't think we funded them for that much last year. That was
Yeah,
like 1,500.
3,000.
What was it?
3,000.
3,000?
Was it last year? 3,000?
Yes,
What was the request last year?
between 3 and 5.
Thought they asked for a lot more than that last year, but
Well, that's what we gave them.
yeah,
Yeah.
we gave them 3. Why are you reducing it, Wayne?
Well, if I get a second, I'll be glad to discuss it.
Is there a second, Keith?
I'll second it for discussions.
Yeah.
Can do that.
All right, been a motion and a second.
Okay.
Any discussion on
Yeah,
why
the reason I'm
1,000?
looking at 1,000 is that we've got so much money going out in this budget that we really need to take a look at where we can cut back some of the monies so we can pay for 2 dispatchers, and a lot of potentially other materials within the budget that may or may not expand. So I think we really need to take a look at coming up with some kind of level budget for the town. And part of that is taking a look at what we're giving away as free money for that. And at this point in time, I think I would go with 1,000, where down the road, we can revisit taking a look at the whole budget to see if we want to amend that.
Do we have any comments from the welfare director? Because she came last year.
She hasn't been with us this year. I've had some experience with them this year, and I brought up to her, and this isn't anything that happened this year, but any complaints that we've had, I or Pat have gone to Maggie Pritchard, who's one of their officers, and it's been ironed out. I just, you know, have not heard any complaints at all, and I know the county did cut their budget, so. Any other comments?
Well, one of the things I think some more information might be needed is, you know, I was thinking about what they said about they're combining all of their
Thank you.
different facilities into one and that will be happening this year. Will that mean that their local facility, their satellites, will be closing, so we'll be actually not having that in the community? And one of the big parts I brought up before was the problem with transportation, getting people to and from Genesis. If they close down the local, how much service will we really be putting in that area? So that's one question I'd like to ask them is what
They don't have a local satellite here, I don't believe.
She said they had
Plymouth.
they did have one in Plymouth that they were getting the bus for, but they said they do have a local satellite.
Yeah, I remember she did.
And
I didn't remember that at all. Well, we can call and get that
find
clarified.
out from,
I do know she said they do provide transportation. We asked that specifically, they did get an extra bus, because they had one for Laconia, and they got an extra bus to assist in the local areas, because that was a question I had, because I know somebody who's had issues with transportation. And after the meeting last week, I did call and tell that person that transportation was available locally. So, from Genesis. So that question was answered. And what was the third question?
are they
are they-
closing down the local office? Or,
I'm just going by what she said,
satellite.
and from what I read in the papers, it's just to consolidate the numbers of buildings they have in Laconia. We have a number of buildings in Laconia,
Yeah.
and they are going into one building, so all of those so that people can get all the services in that one building if they need various ones when they come. But we can again clarify that, but I believe that, as I say, I read that in the paper, there was a lengthy article in the Sun about that. Okay, well, I'll give her a call to get those clarified. Are there any other questions?
Well, didn't they say something about this building last year?
No. They
I
just,
wasn't here last week, and I remember them talking about a building consolidating.
they were maybe planning to, but they're going ahead with it now. They got a grant to do it.
Okay.
Any other questions? I've got 3 questions so far. Anything else?
I therefore make a motion to table my original motion until next meeting, where we can have further discussion and further information.
Is there a second? All in favor of tabling it until next week after the information has been gathered?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay.
I would like to make a motion that we fund CASA, who did not show up last week. If we have not heard anything from CASA at this point in time, to fund them at 0.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay.
We're getting a terrible turnout this year, huh?
And then people have other things on their mind, I guess.
All right, we have a few more minutes before cap is...
I've been trying to get the chocolate ones. I don't know where they get them.
What chocolate? There are no chocolate, are there?
No.
There was,
Oh. So what do we got next week? Excuse me.
Next week, we've got Franklin visiting nurses and the library.
I like that. No more people after the November 8th meeting?
November 15th is going to be PEMI Youth.
Okay.
And other than that, we will be doing the Park Commission, Sewer, Lockmere Village District, and meeting at Highway and PD, if you guys want to do that.
Okay.
When is Pines coming?
The Pines is on the 8th.
Joanna, have we received from PEMI Youth any kind of financial information or a request for how much funding they're looking for?
Ashley St. John, who's on the board, has communicated with me through email. So I've got the actual number, but that's all I've got.
Okay.
John? Transportation for Tilton residents, and then the satellite in Tilton, will it be closed with the consolidation? And what was the third?
That would be it.
Okay. I thought we had a third one.
Yeah, you said one was resolved. I think the transportation.
Well, I'm gonna make
That
sure
might be
that is.
combined with it, that if they close it or.
Yeah, okay, all right.
The question that I would have is that they've started their substance abuse program out there.
Mhm.
How will they incorporate the town of Tilton within the substance abuse program that they received a grant for?
I'm not sure they were supposed to do that. I thought it was specific for a certain area.
That's the question I have.
Okay.
That if it is, that's fine. If not, it should, because most grants are written for their service area. And Tilton would be part of their service area.
That was a last year grant, though, wasn't it? Well, that's when I
Some
questioned
is in the
it.
grant,
Yeah.
and that's how they bought the second bus, remember? So the grant money is available. If it is so, what kind of services are they willing and can they provide to the residents of Tilton from that grant? Because we know that our folks don't do drugs.
It's only neighboring towns.
Hmm?
It's only the neighboring towns.
I had a meth factory two houses down from me.
Really?
You didn't hear anything from,
Oh yeah,
I mean, that's
Northfield had one.
dangerous with the gas and
it's very unusual for her not to be here.
never mind even being on drugs.
Well, Northfield had one right across from the Union Sandboard.
It's been a trend this year.
Someone
This is
said you
why
could
we're
make-
not bringing children
You
into
can
the
make
world.
meth out of cola.
Where is she?
You can? I have no idea.
It was in the,
I could
it was in the
Google it.
news,
It's
and
in
they were
Cardiff
talking about that.
Indian Association.
I'm
Wow.
sure Google
Treasure
tells you
for
how
it.
exactly
We've
how to
been
do
having a
it.
hard time
You
getting
too.
people to apply for
Yeah.
crazy
The information you can get out there.
kids.
Sudafed,
Last
acetone,
2 years.
ether, Excellent boiler.
Acetone.
She
is
home.
bad.
Be a few minutes.
Sterilize it.
There's hardly any parking.
We dry it out.
Every spot
Which I'm
is full.
gonna find out. The police are supposed to be monitoring these sides, and they're supposed to be ticketing and towing, because they're not supposed to park there until 9 o'clock. They're on the side.
It's green leather with
It's all full.
infinity.
It
thing.
says
I'm gonna check outside the
Town
here.
of business only till 9
It's
p.m.
just because it has the name.
Those two parking places along the side?
Is anybody here parked on the side? Right, oh, out here on the side of the building, there's one. There's one other.
I think that was 10.
No, it's not
What?
him.
What's the matter?
I missed it.
There should be 2 vacancies on the side here and 1 in the front for parking for this meeting.
Yes, there's 2 on the side usually. I always go in the,
I park out back, but the only person parked there is
It's
Wayne.
Wayne.
So the other spot should be empty.
Yeah.
There's nothing going on downstairs?
No?
no,
And the one out front should be available.
Yeah.
Is there 1 or 2 out front now?
1.
1? It's hard to tell because of the way they put another parking space in there.
Supposed to enforce that.
I didn't bring my cell phone.
Well, they don't have an excuse to not be there because there's plenty.
I forgot.
Well, I
I
think
didn't bring mine in either. We'll wait a few more minutes. If anybody wants to stretch, we'll,
Do they usually come or no?
always. And we,
Yeah.
I mean, they do more for this town than any other organization. That's why I just can't believe that Gail Lyman's not here.
could be
She's
raining.
usually here early.
Some places got washed out, I heard today. I don't know if they were around here or not.
Let's get a lot around.
Yeah.
We're supposed to get more tonight.
A lot of crazy weather. Rain.
I asked him if he had anything for us that we needed to know about, he did not. I was on my way up.
Well,
Hmm? Pretty on hold, too.
We know.
Hmm?
Do you know if that's working?
Well, he told me that's what I had to do. I'm doing that, that's what he said.
Do you want to take a walk while we're waiting?
Is there any discussion at all on, anybody want to make any comments about this island series at all? We won't vote till next week, but I wonder if there were any comments.
Is there a reason we're not voting till next week?
Well, we just decided to wait a week in between in case anything came up in anybody's mind.
I don't think I got any of the activities around here. I have to take care of my animals and my wife.
It's
You should
well,
try
it's
it,
well
yeah.
worth going down there. There's a type of music for everybody.
It's very eclectic. It's nice for the older population to mix with other folks and to keep that socialization going. And it's a real neutral, safe place for them to get out and enjoy a Sunday evening.
Don't they post who's playing on our website? Or?
Mhm.
Yeah, so you can look on the Tilton website.
And they have their own website too, and they have a Facebook page. And it is it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
And they post the bands that are going to be there, or the music,
yeah.
beforehand, so you can look down the roster of who's going to be there, and everything from torch music, it's an oldie but goodie, some jazz, country western, folk.
Oh, okay. Acoustic.
Just kind of sit back and bring a blanket.
Mhm. They have a group, this past year I think they had 2 groups that did Beatles type songs, primarily Beatles type. They're usually the most popular. Then they have Annie and the Orphans, and he's an old time rock and roll performer. Very popular in this area. Sings off key, but
And you get to see something John doesn't get a lot of credit for. Your lighted flagpole, sir.
well,
Is that the solar? Yeah.
but the solar still working.
Nice.
Yes.
I think it was.
He's-
I think
he's
it
with
cost
his
us about
building.
$60.
That was
Parts
put up
and-
last year, wasn't it?
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
I remember talking about that.
We been working on ways to get the stones put back into place, and even temporary. We thought we were onto a grant, but it was, there were some monies that were made available for purchasing equipment and repairs of roads, sidewalks, and stuff like that, but it would not cover for that, for the rocks to be put into place. The money that we've been putting away every year for the engineering study and repairs to the island to fix those rocks, we've been putting away, but Northfield hasn't. And we would have to split the cost 50-50 to fix the island. So we're prepared, or we're not completely prepared, but to pay for our share. But it would have to be Northfield too.
And Northfield is not interested in the island, it appears, and I don't know why, unless they think it's a Tilton.
Probably because it's access through Tilton,
Yeah.
it's more used by Tilton since it's accessed that way. Their side of the river, what's the company that's over there? It used to be Arwood or something.
There used to be out.
PCC
Yeah.
or
It's something else now.
PCH or something like that.
Yeah, and they do
PCC.
castings, and
Yeah.
it's all overgrown in the parking lot there, and they don't allow anybody to park there and there's no access from there, so it's kind of,
Well, there was talk of there being access through Winnipesaukee Trail, wasn't there? And they voted it down. They didn't, they needed to put money in because they had a grant to make the bridge, remember?
you know,
They voted it down.
we were working on putting a bridge across and with the Winnipesaukee Trail to connect it through there and then go down. The cost of the bridge just
They had a
kept going up
grant.
and up.
There was a grant that would have paid for the bridge, but Northfield, before they would, Northfield needed to give a certain amount. And Northfield voted it down, so it was too late for the grant then, and there was nothing they could do about it. So that went to plunk.
There's still a, like an easement on the conservation land on our side that we could land a bridge in the Salmon Run area to go across and continue the trail down. Presently, we go across the street by the police station and then down the sidewalk. But maybe somebody will bequest it.
Yeah,
Put it in our wills.
I was just gonna say we will.
Yeah.
Well, I guess Cap is not gonna show up. Somebody like to make a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn?
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Fastest second. Did we back up now?
Well, I hope it didn't. I don't know.
If I
I don't know.
Oh, tax-wise, or
What's the ball game?
I'm gonna work on taxes.
No. I've had my punishment for the day. I don't do
I
taxes
worked-
or computers.
I worked last night till 11 o'clock.
I used to do taxes. I built my own computers.
Yes. Well, mine are students.
Who was,
I figured out
by accident,
by 8 o'clock at night, they had enough.
find out.
Yes.
And they don't want
Kids
to.
don't wanna work during the day, never mind 8 o'clock at night.
Except I will get strange replies to discussion questions at 3 in the morning. And I sit there and go, you won't come out for 8, but
But
it
you'll-
was 3 o'clock in the morning. You send me a discussion question.
Parks and Police Department. And,
And it's not what is life. It's like, how am I passing this course?
That's right.
With great difficulty.
Yeah. I just learned something. Good night, guys.
Good night. I mean, I've never, and I've been on the budget committee a long, long time. I can never know them not to show up.
an email schedule. You know, that's because I've been to just so many. Tell me
Okay.
that's
Remember when,
That's all planning. Before, we had, and then that front Samson. I think he, let me just so,
Well, I'm just,
just all public service.
I just, am not, I just,
Some things going on, constant feeling of this law. Well, no, we'll come up on it, right on past that. We haven't hit a lie is a lie. You don't think so?
no.
It is the whole thing.
Oh, I know she is.
See, now I can just turn this off and disconnect it. Disconnect the power. Turn this